They just worked a treat. Those things just popped out. I'm so pleased with that. I was a bit nervous about using it, but I was, you get so many warnings and hazard things on the manuals, it scares you a bit. But I'm going to have a break because I've got lots of things undone, but nothing seems to be coming out. In the previous video, we disconnected the electrical harness, most of the electrical harness, definitely on the left side of the engine here, and then this video we're continuing to disconnect the harness on the right side of the engine, which is mostly the same, but there's some differences, namely the pressure, oil pressure sensor, and some others. I've also found that a lot of the instructions in the book suggest ways you disconnect things, and that may be true, but when you're disconnecting things with the engine out, sometimes you don't need to disconnect everything the way it says. You can do it in bigger lumps, as I found with the hydraulic pump for the steering. You don't have to take the pipe out of the back if you don't want to. There's things like that, you can take them out in big lumps. The approach to pulling things apart in a logical fashion seems to be working fine. This video we get rid of pretty much everything else. I think there's 2 sensors left at the end of this video on the engine, 2 tiny sensors. There's double purpose oil temperature and oil level sensor. And one more knock sensor, I think. So yeah, pretty much in this video the engine, top of the engine is completely stripped. In the next video we are going to be looking at the engine stand, getting the engine on the engine stand, and possibly cleaning it, I would guess. So subscribe and follow along if you want to see how I'm doing with this engine rebuild. So I got all those connectors off, hopefully you got it on the camera a bit. So took a 19mm spanner under this thing to undo this. The whole thing spins around. But I think once if I take the harness off, I can just spin this around and take this off with one unit. I haven't actually got a spanner small enough for these things. And did that electrical connector, it came off easily, and but so did the whole bracket. So there's a washer that goes onto there through, and then through this other bracket. But it's pretty dirty on mine. You see it in there, black. So there's something else that I've already taken off clips into that. I can't remember what. And then I'm doing this bracket plastic thing that's holding the harness on with another 10mm. Yep. All right. That's out. Oh, it's connected somewhere else. And there is it. I just used my grabbers in the end to get that bit off there. It's just 2 sort of pressure points on the top and the bottom. I used fingers first and then realised that those were released, and then couldn't really get enough purchase to pull very well, so then just use the grabbers to pull without putting too much pressure on because I didn't want to break the plastic. They came off pretty well. Pretty happy with that. Let's see where they are in relation to the engine. So the harness is almost off. I think it's just this one there. Yeah, it's the top and bottom. Just pushing them in. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Click a bit more in. For this one, a few clicks. There you go. Right, so more than one click. So click, click, click. Let's not caught this end at all. Apart from that, just give it a twist. This end. There's caught down there. There's another one. Good God. Just keep coming. close to the little coolant square thing is this clip. There's a big bolt holding the sensor, whatever that is. Yeah, it just pulls off. Alright, so this little one. Those little orangey ones. Right, so now can I put it up? There you go. Just got lodged it behind there. Oil fair tube. Right, so that is right off. I can comically, I'll need both hands for this, I think. I comically wind the whole thing. I know I've got the whole harness off. I'm going to twist that off. I haven't got, as I say, tiny spanners. I don't know whether the recording done or not. So, filler tube, I'm going to take off that there, 10mm behind, I think that's it. Just say maybe I don't need to disconnect the pulley bit, because actually they're not coming off very easily. I might need to use an impact driver, or just I need some way of holding this pulley. I thought about maybe undoing the ones at the back, but obviously they're just going to bash into the pulley unless they're really tiny, which I don't think they are. Oh, hydraulic steering fluid pump. I managed to get, it's a bit difficult, pain because when you try and spin this, the whole thing spins round. I had that sort of experience with the dual mass flywheel. Okay, so this is pretty cool. I've had this for a while, this air-driven impact drive. You can tell I've got a little bit of a leak where it's attached. I need to get some tape to sort that out. But to getting these pulley nuts off, it just worked. They just worked a treat. These things just popped out. I'm so pleased with that. I was a bit nervous about using it. There's, you get so many warnings and hazard things on the manual, it sort of scares you a bit, but good fun. Yeah, I had to work out how to use my air compressor properly again, because I've just used it for the lift before, really, and just blow my car tyres up.
Totally wrong. Can't speak of the truth when it's tainted. I found.
I loosened off any nuts I could see, 10mm and 13mm usually with the impact driver. These holding onto the starter motor are 15mm, and I haven't got a 15mm for my impact driver, and it doesn't fit in very well anyway, although it's really being hampered by these pipes, I think. But I've used double D40 on those two 15mm bolts anyway. There's one down there as well for the ignition. I've undone two back bolts holding the actual pump, the hydraulic steering fluid pump, and I did whatever nuts I could around it. I've still got some on the brackets here on the other side, so using the impact driver to make light work of the front pulley wheels, bolts in a bag, but it's not pulling off, so maybe, but it does say in the manual you can just then pull it off, so I might need to use a crowbar or something. I might do that now actually. Alright, so my girlfriend got me a 200-piece trim removal set, and allegedly you can get this pipe off the back of the hydraulic steering pump with one of these, or a trim tool. Something like that, I reckon. So I'll try that towards the pump and pull the pipe out. Sweet, that's done it. Let's see. It's just not coming because of where it's attached. Here, I think. Might be able to just lift this rubber bit out, I suspect. Slide it out towards me, and that'll be the steering thing. And I know why the steering pipe isn't in here. That was because I couldn't get the second line that looked like this to come apart in the boot of the car, sort of in the engine compartment of the car. So I had to disconnect it from here while the car was still in, the engine was still in the car. Okay, so that just comes out now because that was being held in there. I can see it's so dirty. I guess, come on. There. So that comes up, that is done. Let's pull this out. Right. I'm gonna have a break because I've got lots of things undone, but nothing seems to be coming out. So this line still hasn't got it out. I'm pulling quite hard. I don't want to break it. Maybe I have to pull it harder. I've tried pushing in the red thing with the plastic tool again while pulling. That's joined there, which is hard to get access to until I get this off. If I get this off, that would be good, and I can get access to that and do that. The pulley should pull off, but it's not doing it, even with the crowbar. The pulley wheel isn't coming off, and it's not really moving much in the case. This rear pump bit will move, shifts around a bit, because I've undone those two bolts that have a lot of white stuff on them for some reason. But yeah, so I'm just kind of getting frustrated. This, once you undid this bolt here, there's you can see it there, that goes around and it flips, that's holding it on the other side. Put these bolts back in, there's two here holding this this bit to this bit. It's because I should be able to take them all out in one unit. So now I've undone all the bolts holding in this metal exhaust intake. So I'll do it for both sides. I have to put them out in a bag and call it metal intakes or something. Intake manifolds. So hopefully you can just see in the spread out photo bits that I've just removed the whole thing. That won't retreat. So there's it there. So looking at the way I was looking at the engine this way around, that's going to be obvious putting it back on, I think. And there, you can see the valves under there. Yeah, you can see that. Really difficult to see. You can see the tops of the valves there. You can see a little bit of marks on the inside. There. Push this off, pry this off. You can see from the other angle that I'm taking the video from. But yeah, what I didn't realise is this bit is actually the sort of cylindrical bit in the middle. So I'm not sure that's going to help me, but I can see actually that at least I have made some progress. It's not more, this rusty bit is more indented, so it is coming off. The pulley wheel, whatever you call it, came out in the end easily actually. The whole pump thing came out a lot easier than I was expecting, because lots of people said it's quite difficult to get it out, but I just hardly wiggled it at all and it just came straight out. So that was good. And for this casing around the outside, they've just got to do this. There was a 13mm here, down here, and then one at the back. Yeah, which I'm just I've just done. It's a bit stiffer than everything else. I haven't actually used WD-40 on much, apart from that pulley mechanism. wheel. Just need to take that off, and I'm pretty sure this whole thing pump will come out. Quite cool. I'm going to lift this up all in one go with that pipe still stuck on it. This pipe stuck on it. Taking those two nuts out and put them in a bag. The bolts through. Yeah, look. Whoa! Probably put the two bolts out over there. Okay, so 2 more 15mm bolts off here and here. Let's do it there and there. And this thing, you see, already see a bit of metal showing there. There are the bolts. I think. Oh yeah. So that bit goes. You can see there. I am having quite a lot of difficulty with this. Undone the 2 bolts down here ages ago. You see 1, 2, and 2, and there's like a pipe at the back. You can see it easier from the top. There. And that wiggles like that. There's a clip on the bottom here. It's quite easy to sort of wiggle around, but I'm not managing to pull the whole thing out. This sensor thing seems to be in the way quite a bit. There. I had to get a screwdriver right in there. It's quite rusty and seized on for me. It's just sort of difficult to get off. And then I had to get a screwdriver to then pull leverage against the engine case and push this bit out. Yeah, I did it. It's quite a bit of faff for me. Some things seem to go easier than other people's, and others are more difficult. So yeah, pretty much in this video the engine, top of the engine is completely stripped. In the next video we are going to be looking at the engine stand, getting the engine on the engine stand, possibly cleaning it, I would guess. Yeah, so subscribe and follow along if you want to see how I'm doing with this engine rebuild. The reason I'm rebuilding the engine is because it was my dad's. I don't really have a lot of mechanical experience. I'll be interested to see if I can do it. But so far, I think now the engine is out of the car, things are a lot easier. Things are less rusty, and I'm not worried about the engine falling on my head, which is completely rational anyway. It was completely rational. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how things are going. Obviously I'd like it to be faster, but it's going alright.
Bring the baseline back around again.